Master Johnson Field here, and it is Thursday, October 22nd. We're going to be doing our live Q&A in about 10, 11 minutes. I thought I'd pop on a little bit early, let people get a chance to pop on here. We have, let's count how many questions that people have sent in, either Facebook, posted on YouTube, as well as emails. Since we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Looks like we have 14 questions to go over today. Plus, anybody that pops on here, you guys are more than welcome to put your comments in the comment section here, and I will get to them. This is actually my first not Facebook, but I'm telling you though, this is my first YouTube live stream. So very low tech, really simple today. Okay. So I'm gonna get used to technology a little bit. The volume seems to be pretty good. Yeah, so that's something new. We're in the office right now. Got some of the actually while we're waiting for people to pop on. These are first and second place for the UFC, WBA, and ISK World. But actually, for 2019, this is the first and second place for USBA World Championship. This is 2018, second place for the ISK World Championship for creative. Got some taekwondo and Toyama certificate. Now because that, you probably can't see it. Actually, let me tilt that way up there. Over some my taekwondo belt and sword. But yeah, so we're just killing some time here before anything pops on. I have a habit of showing up early to these things. I don't know why, but I do. So we have about 9 minutes left here. Again, if you're viewing, let me know. Say hi. So I'll explain this again a little bit later, but how we're doing, I got 14 questions that have already been submitted by email, posted on YouTube, as well as Facebook. So I'll be answering those. And if anybody posts any questions uh, during the live stream, I'll also answer those. We're going to be basically talking about anything martial arts related and self-defense related as well. Some of the stuff going on here at Cobourg Taekwondo, as well as empowered. Actually, do a cheap plug before we begin here. If you haven't done so, make sure you go on Amazon and pick up my book, Empowered, Essential Concepts and Strategies Every Woman Should Know About Self-Defense. It's actually a pretty quick, easy read. Basically, the introduction to women's self-defense and how to prevent dangerous situations before they occur. So, again, we have probably about 8 minutes before we get started officially. And we got 14 questions to answer so far. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you're viewing this after the fact, you want to skip all the chit chat, there's in about 7 minutes where we'll get to the main stream here. Over the water here. Got my phone on vibrate. Like I said, our main topic, or topic for today, is mainly women's self-defense or self-defense in general, and a little bit to do with just different topics of martial arts. Okay. Again, this is a very low key live stream. Don't have any. I'm just using the technology provided by YouTube. I'm not using any third party provider or software. It's pretty low key. I was gonna actually use my computer, my main desktop, but I would have to download something, so using my laptop here. So if I'm kind of scrolling back and forth between YouTube and the question, bear with me. Again, super low key. In the meantime though, on Saturday, this Saturday, October 24, from 12:30 to 2:30, Ma'am Cheryl Sanders and I are conducting a 2-hour Women's Defense and Empowerment workshop. What do we have here? So we're looking at like 9 or 10 couples, not couples, but pairs or grouping, and what we're doing. We're being super safe with the whole COVID-19 world pandemic thing going on. So every partnership is going to be isolated in their own little training area with their own equipment. Ma'am Cheryl and I will be in the middle of the room demonstrating and explaining the technique, and then we'll kind of float around in the middle, make sure everything's doing it correctly. Like I said, this Saturday, October 24th. We're actually sold out for this one. That's awesome. Then we have another one on Saturday, November 21st, again from 12:30 to 2:30. We're doing a mother-daughter one. And with this one, and we already have 4 groups, we have 2 groups of 2 where the mother-daughter, as well as 2 groups of mother and 2 daughters. And the daughters are aged from like 6 to 12, 6 to 13 year olds. So we'll be doing self-defense more geared toward that age group. So the mother and daughter get to work together and learn self-defense, and then they can kind of get to go home and discuss what they learned, work on some of the stuff. We have about 4 minutes before we get started. So anybody that watching right now, if you want to fast forward and don't want to listen to the pre-show stuff, by all means, go ahead and do that. Actually, whenever anybody pops on to one of our, not pops on, sorry, whenever somebody attends one of our workshops, like our defense empowerment, and that's the key thing. It's not just for self-defense, but it's also empowerment. You gotta have both. It's really hard to have one without the other. But when you come to one of our women's empowerment defense workshops, you actually get this cool little pamphlet here that has 1, 2, 3, 4, like 14, 15 little subjects that Cheryl and I we discussed, and so you get to take what they told. This is really cool. I end up getting these printed up at where did I get it printed up? Oh, what's that online? Oh, Vistaprint. They do a really good job on this stuff. We got a couple of quotes here at the bottom of some famous incidents. Yeah, tongue-tied. Very important one. We got some of the different pictures of Cheryl beating on me from past workshops. Actually, we got all the notes ready for this Saturday. These are actually the same notes that we did. This is my clipboard, and then Ma'am Cheryl has her own cool clipboard here. These are actually the same notes that we used. We held a virtual defense workshop back in August for any girls that are going to high school or off to university this year. And with the whole world pandemic thing, we originally wanted to do it in person, but at that point in August, we weren't sure what's going on. Things weren't as open, so we hosted a virtual one over Facebook Live as well as Microsoft Teams meeting. So we had a little bit of success with that, but Cheryl and I both said that we much rather keep the defense workshop in person. So it's more intimate, we get to interact, and we can find out what you guys are interested in. So, okay, we're probably about a minute and a half away from getting this on the show. I'll probably, next time I do one of these live streams, I'll probably just end up not being 10 minutes early, so you'll have to listen to my rambling. But we're almost starting here. Yeah, I'm definitely too early. That's okay though. But yeah, so Cheryl and I are definitely excited about getting to teach our defense workshop in person once again. That like is so awesome. To be able to do stuff in person. And we're being super safe. All the groups that we're having are either family members or in the same social circle. They're going to be pre-screened before they come in, signing COVID waiver forms. We've been sending out over the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've been sending out weekly email with some of our YouTube videos as well. So actually, while we're talking about that, if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Master Johnson Field, and check out all the self-defense videos that we have. We have some Halloween ones that are kind of coming up right now. Okay, so we're going to be starting here in a couple seconds. Hopefully more people pop on. We are, we are a small channel. We just started thinking about being kind of serious with this back in late August, and since then we've gained around 600 subscribers. So we've been doing good so far, but we want to really grow the YouTube channel and get out our message. Alright, it is 2 o'clock, so let's just officially start it. So, I want to welcome everybody to today's live stream. In case you don't know, I'm Master Johnson Field. I'm the owner and master instructor here at Cobourg Taekwondo. I've been the owner for over 17 years. I actually purchased the academy from my original master in Taekwondo back in May of 2003 while I was still going to college and running the school at the same time. I'm in my what? I have about 23 years of Taekwondo and martial arts training, officially training. I've been kind of training on my own since I was like 6 or 7 years old, watching Ninja Turtle. But anyway, I am also the co-founder of a kind of science business called Empowered, and at Empowered, we strive to help women and young girls build confidence and find their inner strength through defense and empowerment training. And I am partnered with the other co-founder, Ma'am Cheryl Sanders, who one of our technically black belt here at Cobourg Taekwondo, as well as she has a couple of her uh, older daughters, her 14-year-old and her 12-year-old daughter, are also doing Taekwondo here. So that is really cool. And her and I have a passion for empowering women, helping women with self-defense, and we think information that every woman and young girl should know. Well, basically, I think every person on the planet should be studying some form of martial art. But okay, let's get right to it. So today is a live Q&A. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment over here or over here, depending on how you're looking at it. And I also have 14 questions that were either emailed to me, sent to me via Facebook, or via YouTube. So let's get right to the first question. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will get to them. Alright, question number 1 is, what is better for self-defense? Stand-up striking martial art or ground grappling martial art? Got a little bit of a dry throat here. Alright, so what do I think, in my opinion, is better? I think, personally, when you look at self-defense, like 99% of the time, self-defense start standing up. So that's what you should start with is stand-up martial art. Stand-up martial art teaches you striking with your hands, your arms, your elbows, your knees, your feet, your shin. Some of you teaches you headbutts as well. But the fact that you're standing up, it allows you to strike. It allows you to trapping skills. It allows you to do very joint manipulation lock. It allows you to swing to different takedowns. Stand-up martial art in your face. And then, like I said, that very rare incident where maybe a fight or self-defense situation starts on the ground, you should definitely know a little bit of ground stuff. So what we do here at Cobourg Taekwondo, so for our curriculum, obviously Taekwondo is a clean martial art with a lot of kicking and punching and striking that way. There's a lot of emphasis on kicking. Everybody sees Taekwondo as mainly a kicking art because that's what you'll see a lot of videos on YouTube and when you're watching the Olympics. It's a lot of kicking, right? So people associate Taekwondo just with that. But when you look at the traditional side of Taekwondo and the self-defense, we have a lot more tools than what people would think. We have our punches, we have kick, we got knee, we got elbow, we got tiger mouth strike, we got finger strike, we got hammer fist, we got chop, we got wrist hand, we got palm strike, we got back fist. We have quite a variety of self-defense techniques pertain just to the striking aspect, as well as Taekwondo practitioners also learn different wrist lock, wrist manipulation, elbow lock, shoulder lock, throws, sweeps, different takedowns, different chokes. We actually have quite a variety of techniques. We just don't put a lot of emphasis on the ground stuff, or Taekwondo traditionally doesn't put a lot of emphasis on ground stuff. But then also here, especially for our black belt curriculum and our teams and adult program, we do have quite a bit of ground self-defense where we have like track and roll and elevator leg sweep, the different joint manipulations and choke. We really focus on the ones that are more applicable or applicable to self-defense and not so much for competition. I think a lot of people sometimes will look at like grappling arts and they'll look at like say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for example, and so some schools teach more the self-defense aspect and some teach more of the ground stuff or self competition stuff. And a lot of times people look at the competition stuff thinking they're doing self-defense when they're not. So we focus more when we're doing our ground stuff in Jiu-Jitsu is more about the self-defense aspect. So we do incorporate some ground strengthening as well into that. So really, my opinion is you want to start with a stand-up martial art and then add your ground martial art or grappling style. Also, another point I want to make real quick before we go to the next question is when you do stand-up martial art, just standing somewhere allows you to have a much broader view of everything that's going on around you versus when you're lying back on your back, you have a very limited view. So I want to be in a position where I can see as much as possible with very little effort. So I can see who's in my area, who's around my area, etc. Alright, so hopefully that answered the question a little bit long-winded. Let's go with question number 2 here. Okay. Question number 2. Okay. My Microsoft Word's being a little fickle here. Um, Question number 2 though. Actually, this one's actually on YouTube for Cheryl. I'm gonna give you my opinion or thoughts on this, and I'll let Ma'am Cheryl, talk about this at a later date. But the question being, says for Cheryl, do you think that women in martial art get enough exposure in the media? So I'm going to answer from my perspective. So I don't want to get too touchy on this, but I think that depends on what type of media you're talking about. I think if you're looking at some martial artists, female martial artists in the movies and TV shows, they get a lot. Like you look at Marvel, you look at DC, for instance, like I actually know the stunt woman for Wonder Woman, Kate Michelle. She was actually ISK, multiple-time ISK World Champion, NASCA champion. I've seen her since she was a little child grow up in the martial art and the movie industry. So females do get a lot of attention in martial art movies and TV shows. Now I'm thinking the question was more based on whether they thought that female like just I think maybe more like general media, like where they talking about like just generally like maybe the news and stuff along that line. Maybe the females don't get as much attention as others, and I think that's something that we all need to work toward. Like that, I'm actually gonna say that toward women in sports in general as well. It seems like some of the women's leagues don't have as much attention as what some of the men's leagues get. Even though the women are just as capable and as entertaining and athletic and strong as the men are, I think that maybe that's something that the world culture in general needs to change. And that's all I'm gonna really say. I'm gonna let Cheryl answer that at a later time when she chooses to. We're all pretty busy here. Alright, let's move into the third question. The third question is, and all this stuff popped up on my computer, so I apologize. I don't know what's going on here. Third question for today. What would be the difference in, this is from a female, what would be the difference in kicking while wearing dress shoes slash high heel and barefoot slash sandal slash flip flops? Alright, well, I'm not female, but I think that what Cheryl told me when we were filming last week, a bunch of YouTube videos, Cheryl said that she believes that she can kick really hard in high heels. She does wear high heels. She wears high heel boots when she comes in. Um, yeah, she's very comfortable. I think a lot of females, when they get really comfortable wearing high heels, they can do pretty much whatever they want. Um, Women can run in high heels. If you look at the actress who played Claire in Jurassic World, she ran in high heels away from the T-Rex. So it's possible, you know what, if you're comfortable with high heels and you can do it, versus maybe wearing normal dress shoes or wearing normal shoes, obviously you have much better base, so you should feel six harder and have better balance, versus bare feet, like we do in martial art. We do train our bare feet, so we get very used to doing that, and our feet become very conditioned to that. Actually, I'm going to bring up a point on that. I was watching a video the other day, and I'm actually a little bit disappointed about this. This guy on one of the YouTube channels I just recently started following. There's some pretty good content on there, but he was talking about some myths of martial art, and the one thing was about women, women aren't capable of generating a lot of power kicks into the groin because they might break their foot. Well, if you're wearing shoes, you're gonna have that protection. And let's be honest, in general, if you're using the top part of the foot closer to the shin, your feet are pretty strong. So, if you're in your bare feet, kicking somebody in the groin, it's gonna do some damage, whether it be for a distraction or to hurt somebody as well. I wouldn't necessarily sandals if they're like strapped on. It should be pretty similar to being bare feet. Flip flops they like fly off because they're flip flops, right? They flip flop around. Um, but the best thing is not to get yourself in that situation. Okay, let's move in to question number four. This is actually from the same person. She also wrote, also, what kind of padding can be safely worn by, let's say my boyfriend, so he can help me practice? Is there a groin guard that works well enough to not cause pain? Alright, so she's talking about putting some kind of cup on her boyfriend and letting her boyfriend stand there while she sticks him in the groin. Well, again, a little while ago, Cheryl and I were filming a video, and I actually put a groin cup on. I said to her, go ahead and tap it if you want. She's like, I'm not going to hit you in the groin. And I'm glad she didn't, because I actually tapped my own cup, and it may protect you from a lot of damage, but it still hurts. I don't recommend letting somebody kick you in the groin wearing a cup. What I recommend, though, is getting you get like a Muay Thai pad or Taekwondo kicking shield or a Taekwondo paddle or even like a boxing mitt, coaching mitt, and let your partner kick on that instead. And when you're kicking, you can push down a little bit to cause a little bit of resistance. That's what I would recommend for practicing. Practice, I definitely would recommend practicing at groin level as well as knee level, just because you never know where you might have to strike on that. Okay. Again, we got, let's see. My Microsoft Word gave me a little bit of trouble here. Okay, I'm gonna open up that question one more time. Funny thing, whenever you do something on like a YouTube or something live, nothing ever seems to go right. And we lost our questions, people. Alright, I'm gonna have to kind of go off my memory here. Alright, another question that was presented to us was, martial arts books. That was another question. So people ask, is there any good martial arts book that I recommend? So I guess it depends on what you are interested in. Are you interested in Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, Karate, Judo, purely for self-defense? There's a lot of really good books out there. There's a lot of recent books that are published with more recent information, and there's also a lot of books that are kind of outdated now. So I have really good Taekwondo books on Taekwondo patterns that are outdated, but there's still some valuable information there. I have books on karate, jiu-jitsu, judo, self-defense. I have books by Bruce Lee. I have all kinds of different books. And also fitness. What I recommend is go on Amazon, check out some, check out a couple books that you have interested in, and just look for one or two pieces of information that really speaks to you. I've also done where I also gone to a bunch of used bookstores and found some really good like old books that you can't find anymore. I've had people give me some old martial arts books that you can't find anymore. Those are also extremely awesome. Again, a lot of times on all the books I have, I might get maybe one, two, three, or four just small little nuggets of information out of each book. And when you have like the type of books that I have, you're gonna get a lot of knowledge from that. I just recommend just look at a bunch of different books. Yeah, and don't have bias between just one style. Look at different books. But also, while I'm talking about that, what I also recommend is to actually pick up the book that I published back in May called Empowered. You can actually go to Amazon and just type in Empowered, essential concepts and strategies every woman should know about self-defense. Or you can also go to Cheryl and I's website at womanempowermenttraining.com, find a link there for this, as well as you can also go to womanempoweredbook.com if you want to check out there. So there's three different spots online that you can find this book. So it's a really simple book. It's a really easy read. If you're a reader, got maybe 3 or 4 hours or less to read it easily. Got lots of cool stories and 10 chapters full of different concepts and strategies. And it's really what it is. The book is designed to help teach you to be proactive in situational awareness and stuff like that. So that's what I recommend for books. Is just go out and try not to use bookstores that way. It's not so expensive, and don't be biased. Just grab some stuff and start reading. Another question that was sent to us was, the question was, if I'm paraphrasing. So, one of my master's students in Toronto who submitted this one. She was asking that, especially nowadays, teenagers want to help out, but they don't want to get dangerous. So if they see a dangerous situation happening or somebody getting in a fight or being picked on, and so what should teenagers do as far as getting involved because they don't want to start to get hurt or get in trouble? That's a tricky question, and that kind of goes back to a situation that happened last fall here in Cobourg where one teen boy literally punched the crap out of another teen boy at a local fast food place, I won't mention where, and everybody stood around there. Literally, people were filming the incident on their phone and posting on social media, and people were just literally standing there watching. Now, some people were watching entertainment, and then some people were watching not knowing what to do, not wanting to get involved because nowadays a lot of people don't want to get involved because they have a fear of getting hurt or getting charged by the police, something along that line. So really, what I recommend is if you have the skill to restrain somebody, you know what? We're all human. Nobody deserves to get the crap kicked out of them. I don't think nobody should go in there with violent intention or trying to hurt somebody. But if you are confident in your skill, where you have a couple people that are confident that they can kind of get in there and pull that person off and restrain the two people and kind of let the situation die down and de-escalate things. You know, I totally recommend that. Kind of when I found out about the story back in October, I was actually teaching one of her demo team classes, and I found out about it. I actually lectured a bunch of our young black belts saying, hey, like, if you ever saw this happening, I would want you guys to help the person that being beaten on or being bullied at, but do it in a way where nobody's going to get hurt. And I also said that at the same time, you gotta be careful for yourself that there's no weapons involved or there's nobody else that wants to get involved. So kind of one of those things where it's personally up to you. I can't recommend really what way to go because again, everybody different situation, different laws, depends where you are, depends on how the police see it, your personal training level, etc. So kind of wishy-washy answer, but for me, if I was a teenager with the skill that I have now, and if I was able to make a difference and help save somebody from getting beaten or save somebody's life, I would have done that myself. And that's just me, you know. So don't take that as you should go do it yourself. Another question has to do with actually COVID-19 is that the person wrote, because of the whole world pandemic caused by COVID-19 and a lot of businesses and industries are being negatively affected right now, how do I see the martial art industry moving forward or is martial art going to survive? I think that martial art is one of the industries that is going to survive. Like right now, in a lot of places we are taking a hit because there's a lot of lockdown or semi-lockdown and a lot of restrictions on what we can and cannot do as far as our training goes, how many people we're allowed to have in our facilities, and so forth. But the die-hard true martial arts student and instructor will keep moving forward. People, like I know at least at my school, the students that have stuck around and the instructors that have stuck around, you know what, they're keeping positive. We're still training hard while maintaining social distancing. So, yeah, we're gonna survive. It's gonna take a while to get back to where we were if we ever do get back there, which I kind of think we will. It's gonna take some time as long as everybody is following the protocols that a lot of our head organizations are telling us to follow to ensure that everybody being safe and that we're not spreading COVID-19. Yeah, we're gonna get there, and I think we're right now learning new ways of teaching, and we're learning new ways of learning and instructing and training. So that's some of the positives that we can at least take out of this negative situation. Okay. What was another question? Oh, another question was a lady asked me if she said if a woman's looking to start in self-defense training, how should they start or how can they go about starting? So we have a few different answers on this one, depends on your comfort level. Cheryl and I both kind of have pretty much the same answers on this. And a lot of time what we recommend is start out with a self-defense course, like the one that Cheryl and I are teaching this Saturday, October 24th. You can start out doing a self-defense workshop that's only a couple hours long. You know, most times they're like on Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning. You know what? Start with that, or you can also start with a fitness kickboxing. If you're not into learning martial arts, you're not comfortable with the combat of martial art or the fighting aspect of martial art, start with a fitness kickboxing program where you can punch and kick heavy bags and MMA bags, use kettlebells, mitts, and stuff like that, versus a fitness program where you kind of punch in the air or something. You want to start getting that impact training, learning basic strength that you can use in self-defense, and then go into self-defense workshop or some schools will do like 6 week self-defense courses. And then as you kind of do the fitness kickboxing and your self-defense courses or defense workshop, then you can move into your martial art. And quite frankly, most reputable martial arts schools were very welcoming to new students, especially children and women. Guys tend to be a little more comfortable in martial art at first, whereas women and small children tend to be a little more shy. But again, most schools were very welcoming and very accepting of new students. So you'll have students of higher level, they will help you. And martial arts is not about like fighting where you're trying to beat each other up all the time and stuff along that line. Like you are gonna learn your self defense, you are gonna learn to spar, but you're gonna learn it in a very progressive manner, in a very safe manner, and the intensity level will increase as you get higher up in rank. But safety is always definitely a factor because if you get hurt in training or you're scared, you're not gonna progress very well. If not even six martial arts, right? So and we want everybody to stick to martial arts so they can become very proficient at self defense. So start with your fitness kickboxing and then go into self defense workshop or seminar, or start with the seminar and then go into fitness kickboxing and then progress into some kind of martial art. Like I said earlier, I recommend starting with stand up martial art at first and then kind of go or add into the ground stuff. And you can find a school like our school here at Cobourg Taekwondo, we have a lot of stand up, but we also do a lot of stand up grappling, joint manipulation, and we do have grappling and ground self defense as well. So that's always an option as well. Another question that was asked was, does training in traditional martial art have a place in modern martial art or self-defense? So what this person is probably referring to is like what we do here in a law school. They train in traditional martial art weapons such as the bull staff, kama, tanfan, kali stick, the sword, and the nunchuck and a few other weapons to name a few. And very traditional martial art weapons, obviously, this is not stuff that you would carry around nowadays. However, what's more important when you're learning traditional martial art weapons is the concept and strategy behind those weapons, and you can take those strategies and concepts and apply them to modern weapons or just everyday objects. Like you can take the skills of a bull staff and easily translate them into a broom handle, for example. I actually had a student who actually was attacked at her house where they met somebody at her door and the person actually sprayed something in their eye and they're trying to force their way into this person's house, and they actually were lucky enough to grab a broomstick that was nearby, and they actually were kind of using it half-winded, using the broomstick as a bow staff to actually get the person out of their house. And if they had not had the skill of martial art and the weapon, they may not have been as successful as they were. If you look at like a short stick, like a Kali stick, or even nunchucks that are short, those concepts of different angles of striking and posting and stabbing can easily be translated to a stick, a small pipe, um, a broken broom handle, an umbrella, for instance, even maybe a short cane. You can use the concept of the Kali stick or streamer stick into that. Um, let's say a sword. Nobody walks around with like a katana or samurai sword all the way nowadays. But the length of that weapon can easily be translated to either like a short boom handle or something along that line here where you're using the kind of the same angle of what or same line to attack and you can use the strategy with a blunt weapon. Tonfas are kind of like the nightsticks that police officers use. So tonfa training is really good for police officers, but also you get anything short. So I think that training in martial art weapons, traditional martial art weapons, is definitely a benefit because then you can take those strategies, those concepts, understanding the defenses and offensive, and understanding the lines of attack and distancing, hand movement, etc. And you can use that into almost anything that you get your hands on to defend yourself. So I think it's perfectly applicable for modern training. Another question that was asked relating to that was, what do I think about all these different self-defense tools or weapons that you can like buy on Amazon or other online stores, martial arts stores, magazines, etc. So, or actually even I'm on the one radio channel that I listen to on satellite radio. They're talking about this self-defense weapon. It was called the Lady Claw, I think it was called, where it's like the thing that you hang on to, and it's basically these claws, almost like the Wolverine claws that you can like slash and strike with, right? So what do I think about all these different tools? I think there's a couple really valuable ones, and then there's a lot of garbage ones out there that are just kind of like I guess the concept kind of ish. A lot of it, you have to have really good training. That's like people think that if you have this tool and be able to defend themselves. Well, first, any tool, whether it's for self-defense or building a house or anything along that line, is completely useless if you never learn to use them. That's number one thing. And then there's also like a lot of these tools that are really not that effective. Most people are going to buy them and you're not going to train with them, so they're useless that way. Some of them are very poorly designed. And then another issue I see with a lot of these tools is both men and women and children, if they have them, they're going to have them in their pocket or in their purse or in their bag, and so then when they're attacked, they're not ready to use it. They're not going to suddenly pull it out of their pocket or pull it out of their knapsack or their purse. And what's the point of having a tool that A, you haven't trained with, to a proficient level, or something that's always in a bag or in a pocket where you can't get it. Those are pretty useless. Plus, you also have to consider that a lot of these tools, if you try to use it and you're unsuccessful, the attacker might take that tool away from you and use it on you. So you always have to consider that. So, in that hindsight, there is a couple things that two of them that I highly recommend, and you still have to have a little bit of training. Number one is actually a Supaton keychain. So a Supaton, this is actually an aluminum one. This is not pointed. It's pretty blunt. You can also get a flat end, and this is made out of light aluminum, and it has a key ring on it for your keys. Now, some people will say you can slash like this with your keys. I guess you can, but I can't. I mean, it's kind of annoying, but it's not going to do a lot of damage. The real thing is striking with this tip. Can you imagine taking, whether it's flat or slightly pointed, jarring it, like just me pushing it a little bit like that? That hurts. Now imagine full blast, doing like a hammer fist or a side hammer fist type strike or a stabbing motion, and somebody, just even in chest, just stabbing your chest repeatedly 4 or 5 times, that's going to cause a lot of damage. Or anywhere in the main torso, the arm, the neck, the face, you know. So you also got to check local laws to make sure that something like this is legal. So before purchasing one of these, make sure that you are legally allowed to carry this. I've been carrying mine for over 20 years now. I have it. So normally what I'll do with this is when I'm going to and from my car or somewhere where I feel like I should have weapon, I will actually carry it in my hand. And if I'm walking to the dojo door to open it, as I'm going from my car to the door, I will already be putting the key in my hand, so I'm ready to open the door when I get there. They're not in my pocket, and if somebody surprises me where I feel like I have to use this, it is already in my hand and ready to strike. I'm not trying to pull it out of my pocket or my purse or something along that line. So, and this does take a little bit of training, but if you know how to do like various hammer fist strikes, you're gonna be pretty well versed in it. And a lot of times, just having something like this in your hand may deter somebody from approaching you if you're watching you, because they're gonna be kind of unsure of what's in your hand. It doesn't look too nice, so they might avoid it. Not 100%, but it might work a little bit. That's the one tool I recommend, and we recommend to all of our self-defense workshop people or attendees. And the other one that I don't have is they make these little keychains, probably about yay high, and they have a little ripcord on it. And when you pull this ripcord, it makes an extremely loud, like 120, 140, 100 decibel noise, and super loud. That's going to cause a lot of commotion. And it's going to get attention of anybody that's in your area. And if somebody's attacking you, most likely because they don't want to be seen or they don't want attention drawn to them, they're going to flee. If they go, that loud noise is going to cause a lot of commotion that will allow you a little bit of distraction to either get away or to do some kind of strike to get away. But see, with any self-defense tool, A, you have to have training. Two, you need to have them easily available to you. So, like I said, when I'm going to from my car to the house or a workplace or whatever, this is in my hand. If I'm going to use a keychain that you pull it makes a loud noise, I need to have it on my body that if I'm surprised, I can either look and pull it right away. I don't want to have to fiddle with it. So that's kind of my thought process on self-defense. And a lot of the other stuff is just wishy-washy. And then like you'll hear this comment as well about putting your keys between your knuckles if you can do so. Yeah, that's gonna hurt, but you're also gonna probably break the key depending on the angle. It might cut into you, and actually might end up hurting you just as much as your assailant or attacker. So don't really recommend that too much. Another question that somebody sent me was, what do I think of the keyboard warrior or YouTuber that kind of badmouth other martial arts style or fellow martial artists? Right, so I was actually discussing this with one of my clients this morning as well, and I don't like those people. I think it's just crap. I think there's a lot of good martial arts out there, and I think a lot of times people or badmouth other martial arts style because they're so into their style, they're so dedicated and loyal to their style that they're not looking at or not realizing that other martial arts has value. So like here at Cobourg Taekwondo, our main style is Taekwondo. However, we do add other elements of boxing, kickboxing, kempo, jiu-jitsu, hapkido, wing chun, and a few other some of the weapon arts as well. We add all of that to make our Taekwondo a little more well-rounded. And a lot of schools do that, but there is the traditional school that just say, okay, we're just teaching Taekwondo, we're just teaching Jiu-Jitsu, we're just teaching this, we're just teaching that, and it becomes very narrow-minded. And really, martial arts is not about being narrow-minded, it's more about being open to everything. So I don't really agree with people bad-mouthing other style, but you get these like keyboard warriors that a lot of times they don't even have any real martial art experience. They're just sitting behind a computer screen like you and I are right now, and they just have opinions based on what they've seen or YouTube videos or whatever, or like, oh, this technique sucks, or that would never work, or this guy said this, and yet they have no real world experience, or they never stepped on the mat. Like, they're not even worth your bother, quite frankly. I've had a couple people that have yacked on a little bit. Oh, no. Excellent. Oh, Sensei Emmett, you are from Ireland, yes, sir? If I remember that correctly. we've been talking back and forth a little bit. You've been doing some interview with some YouTubers that I saw, like Mr. Dan from One Dojo, for instance. Briefly saw that interview. So what do I think? Yes, Ireland, perfect. I actually have one of my buddies is from Ireland. If you know Sensei Keith Fanning, he's a kung fu guy, Iron Fist Kung Fu. Definitely check him out. But anyway, what do you think makes a good self-defense program? I think what makes a really good self-defense program, number one, teaching people to be proactive in learning self-defense, being proactive in learning situational awareness. People need to be proactive in learning to avoid any dangerous situation before they happen. We need to have this foresight of what can potentially go wrong and how can I avoid these, and also have plans of attack if something happens to go wrong. And that's, again, my book that you get on Amazon, Empowered. That's mainly what this book has a lot to do with. And that's actually what our Black Belt has to read now. And it's all about situational awareness, having plans, learning to use the news and the media to hear about all these different self-defense situations and what they can do. So really a lot. So this self-defense program, teaching it, like 90% of it is in the head. Now then once we kind of get past the whole mental aspect of self-defense, then teaching basic combative strength that are low impact on the person that's using them that's relatively safe, like palm strength, elbows, hammer fist, and also teaching them, proper knees and kicks, simple strength that are basic motor skills. Because we all know you lose about 90% of what you learn when you're in a fight or a self-defense situation. So we want to make sure that last 10% is the core fundamental that anybody can use. And we teach them, you need to learn to, what strength works better on what parts of the body. You also need to realize that not every strength will necessarily do damage. And a lot of time with self-defense, that we'll do certain strength to cause a reaction so that we can do other strength or cause a reaction so that we can do maybe joint manipulation or throws or takedowns, or we do strength in order to cause us to separate so we can do more powerful strength or strength to allow us to leave the situation as quickly as possible. I think a lot of times some people will take a self-defense situation and then turn it into a fight, which is what we don't want to do. And it's very important in a program to teach people that self-defense is self-defense, where you do just what you need to do to either escape or incapacitate your opponent so that you can escape with hopefully as minimum damage done to yourself as possible. And not, again, make sure that we're teaching it as self-defense and not necessarily as a fight, even though we can teach them fighting skills, but also in self-defense, we need to teach them in a program about conditioning. So we're talking about cardiovascular conditioning. So what happens when your heart rate spikes up? Can you last 15, 20 seconds, which they say is about average, between 15 and 25 seconds? Can you last a couple minutes or longer with your cardiovascular health, as well as muscular endurance? Can you keep going until you can escape? So you have to train your cardio as well as your muscle endurance. You need to train power and speed. So we need to work on drills that work that as well. And then impact training. It's no good just to work technique and never really learn what it feels like to hit something. So we need to hit heavy bags. We need to hit coaching mitts that are a little bit more on the hard side, like Muay Thai mitts, so that when you hit it, it feels like more like you're hitting a human body versus some of those softer pads, which I don't really recommend. So that's impact training. You also want a program that addresses stand up as well as ground self defense. Now, you got to realize that a lot of self defense start standing up. Sometimes it's gentle on the ground, whether it be that on purpose somebody takes you down, or whether that's somebody knocking down because you get hit. Either way, you should definitely know some basic ground stuff. And if you're learning ground stuff, you want to make sure that you're learning the ground techniques that are more applicable to self-defense and not so much for sport. Let's say with stand-up martial arts, you want to make sure you're working stuff that's more applicable for self-defense. And you have a little bit of sport in there, but you need to realize that if you are learning the sport stuff, the stuff needs to be directly applicable to the self-defense stuff. So that's kind of our opinion on that. Cheryl and I are doing a self-defense workshop this Saturday, October 24th from 12:30 to 2:30, and we're going to be covering a lot of that. We also include a little pamphlet, and actually over the last 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, we've been sending everybody that's been signed up for our workshop, we've been sending them emails every week with some self-defense techniques and concepts, so they kind of have that as well. Let's see what else we have here. Awesome. I just thought it would be great to bring this up for your audience, as I know you run a great program. And this is where you wear the essential. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the kind word. And hopefully, at some point, Sensei Emmett, Cheryl, and I will be able to get on and have a video chat with you. It's just right now, between running the school, having to kind of work around this whole COVID-19 myself, as well as Cheryl running, working at her work, as well as her and I running these seminars and doing all these videos and planning. There's a lot of planning that goes on there. Hello? I think we got Alex. Looks like Alex is on here with her junior black belt. Hello, Alex. Trying to think, what else was there that I lost all the questions because my word file went for crap on me here. What else were we discussing? Sensei Emmett or Alex, do you have any questions related to self-defense or martial arts in general? Oh, another question that was sent to us earlier was somebody asked, how did Cheryl and I start empowerment? How did I get started? So a little bit of backstory. So in August 2019, I'm gonna go back for that. I've been teaching women's self-defense seminars for quite a while now. Okay, I'm gonna read this real quick, and here I found it would be available. Cool, awesome. We'll figure it out, Sensei Emmett. So I've been teaching women's self-defense seminars for quite a while now. Since I've been doing martial arts and early black belt and only Cobourg Taekwondo for the last 17 and a half years. I've had self-defense seminars here at the academy. I've taught at some of the local high schools. Some of the local businesses have hired us. Some of the local churches have had myself go. I've sent a lot of our female black belts to go teach some of these seminars and workshops. I've taught some. I taught some courses. But back in August 2019, I had this mother-daughter workshop that I was doing, and we were getting quite full. So I asked Cheryl. I said, hey, are you still interested in women's empowerment and being a woman for advocate for women's empowerment? And I said to her, hey, would you like to come help us or help me with this workshop? She said, yeah, sure. So we taught this workshop a couple hours. It was okay. Her and I worked good together. We kind of clicked on. Cheryl and I have a sibling type relationship where a lot of people think that we have this kind of brother sister vibe. So we're kind of, the way we kind of interact and kind of see each other a little bit and sit around and, brother sister type stuff. Anyway, we did this seminar. It was fun, but we didn't feel like we got as much out of it as what we thought and the attendees should. It was mainly the group that we had. They weren't taking the self-defense as serious as what they should have, even though we do make the seminar fun and entertaining and try we keep it serious, but kind of lighten up a little bit at the same time because it is kind of, when we talk about like rape prevention, sexual assault, and all that other stuff, it can be a heavy topic, right? So anyway, so Cheryl and I taught that, and then I was asked to do another one at the Cobourg Library for a women's group in September, so like not even a month later. So I asked Cheryl, I said, hey, would you like to help me with that one? And she's like, yeah, sure. So when Cheryl and I were there, before we even got started, or actually I think we were, well, it was just after the workshop, can't remember now. Cheryl and I were discussing, we're talking, I said, hey, how about when I do the workshop, how about, you're like my number one person I contact to help. She goes, yeah, I would love to. So really, that's kind of the start of it there. And then in October 2019, we were asked to do a lecture demonstration for another woman. Was it November? Either way, a woman's group. I wasn't a group. It was a girls' night out show when they were focusing on different women topics, lady empowerment topics, and they had different speakers. They wanted us to come and do a self-defense demonstration and lecture and educate women on self-defense techniques and situational awareness and whatnot. So, again, Cheryl and I went up and we had a really good time with that. We entertained the women and everybody kind of had a lot of fun with that. And then I think I want to say we taught another one around that a little bit shortly after. I think one January, and then the last one we taught before COVID-19 hit was in February. And I remember that 'cause it was a hell of a blizzard. We taught a really good seminar there, and then we were supposed to have done in 2020 April and March workshop, which we're actually making up for those ones in a couple days. We're supposed to do those ones. So when COVID-19 kind of hit, Cheryl and I were still talking and that, and we were discussing. And I had this idea to have a little extra free time, because I wasn't teaching classes all the time, maybe just doing online classes. I had the next time, I said, if I were to write a self-defense book for women, what would you want? Because I've been saying for years that I wanted to write a book, and I was going to write a book. Boom, I had this too. So I said to Cheryl, what if I was writing a self-defense book? You, as a mother of three daughters, if you were to read this book and pass it on to somebody else, what would you want? So she kind of said, well, I want a small, she's like a 5 by 8 book, not too thick, something that not too heavy. So I sat down one day and wrote out everything, like all these questions and stuff that people ask me, all these different basic topics. And I thought, well, I should know. So I showed here. And I ended up over a 3.5 week period, wrote a real basic self-defense book, and then I sent some of it for Cheryl to read. She ended up proofreading some of it for me. And in May, I ended up publishing this book. I called it Empowered. And I thought, you know what? Cheryl and I, since we're doing all these lectures and workshops, we should be doing this as a side business or like a side hustle or just a project that we're working on or our mission. I don't know how you want to describe it. And we set up a website, womanempowermenttraining.com. And then we ended up, hey, we should start doing stuff with all COVID-19 going on. We should do some YouTube videos. I mean, that's how Emmett got a hold of us and sent to Emmett. And now we're doing like 2 YouTube videos a week on woman empowerment, self-defense. We just, we post them on the website. We have some online training on there. You can purchase the book. Cheryl and I will be publishing a book together once we start writing it. We got a workshop this Saturday. We got one in November. We have one for February planned, one for April. We're leaving the dates open a little bit so that other groups can kind of contact us and we can do some outside groups as well. So that's kind of how we, and we discuss all the different techniques. We're almost kind of semi-creating our own program and style per se. So that's kind of how power started. That's a real thumbnail version of it. There's always a lot more to it. Oh, and we also taught a virtual seminar back in August for girls that are going into high school or off to university or college. So, but we're really excited about getting to teach in person again in a couple days. That's really exciting. We're really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it anyway. Actually, I know she is. And then we already got several people signed up for the November one, and we haven't even promoted that one yet. All I did was I threw the information up on our website, womanempowermenttraining.com. Make sure you go check that out. That's a little bit how we started. What else do we have here? Is it important to keep tradition in martial art, or should it evolve more and be totally modern? Alright, so that's a really interesting question, Sensei Emmett. Should martial arts be traditional or evolve? Here's my take on this. I've been thinking about this a lot. So we use the word traditional martial art, and we have a lot of tradition with our uniform, our gi, or our dobok, or whatever uniform that you guys call your uniform. Taekwondo, we call them dobok. We have the dobok, we have the belt. We're very formal. Yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. We use the titles as master, sensei, Kwon, sifu, bowing to your partner, showing respect. Bowing when entering and leaving the dojo or dojen. I think that's all important, and we need to keep those traditions. Because really, what we need to be is more respectful in modern society. I think that's what we need more of, is respect and tradition in society. I know for myself, I'm always saying yes sir, no ma'am, yes ma'am, no ma'am when I'm out and about at stores and interacting with people. Very old school, very formal. And then, but when you use the word traditional, also martial art, people think like useless kata or techniques that are outdated. But really, when you look at it, I think traditional should be looked at more like self-defense. Really, that's what martial arts was originally about, was self-defense and combat, right? It wasn't the nice thing that it is today. It wasn't that honorable thing that a lot of people think of martial arts as very honorable people nowadays. And, like it was all tradition and valor and respect. But when you really look at, like, the original martial art, if we can use that term, it was, like, nasty. It was, like, to kill people and for combat and for war. So really, traditional martial art is also modern because martial arts is always evolving. Look at Taekwondo, that's modern martial arts, even though it's been around a lot longer than what the name Taekwondo has been around. It still has a lot of modern aspects and it's always evolving. Same with Jiu-Jitsu, same with different styles of Kung Fu and Karate. Martial arts is always evolving. We always evolve with the types of combat and self-defense situations and weapons that are presented to us. So I think it's both, right? I think it's just how we use the term. And like you'll hear about the self-defense martial arts where they're learning random self-defense techniques for this attack and this attack, and they don't have tradition. Now I think traditional martial art is a better way of going if you can adapt your martial art to modern attack. I think that's kind of what we do here. Like we have this traditional approach, but we also have, we're taking a traditional technique and we kind of adapt them to how can we adapt them to modern society and modern attack. And also what's that traditional martial art too is like originally martial art really wasn't as subdivided as it is now. We look at it before. Martial art incorporated every technique, ground stuff, stand-up stuff, weapons, joint locks, throws, you name it, they had it. Now, a lot of the styles are like so subdivided. Taekwondo is more of a teaching art, karate is more of a kata art, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is more of a ground art, judo is more of a throwing art, aikido is more of a wrist lock art. You have just weapon arts and Krav Maga is more of a self-defense art, whatever. We're so subdivided. We look at traditional martial art, real traditional martial art, it incorporates everything. I think a lot of times modern students, even some modern instructors, don't realize all the techniques that are actually in our style, hitting in our kata or our pumse or whatever you call your forms or patterns, right? There's a lot of traditional in modern, there's a lot of modern in traditional. As long as, but we have to keep the respect aspect of respecting the dosing, respecting the uniform, respecting the rank, but not in a way where it's blind loyalty as well. So I think I kind of covered that. Well, a little bit of a rant there. What else do we have here? Good. Alex. How did I, alright, Alex asked, how did I start Kobe Taekwondo? Good. So I didn't start Kobe Taekwondo. My original instructor, Master William Farman, he started Kobe Taekwondo with somebody else. Actually, Kobe Taekwondo was originally Kobe Taekwondo, Kobe and for Hope in the same word, Taekwondo, and then it got, it turned into Kobe Taekwondo, and I think Kobe Taekwondo started in like 1990 or the late 1980s, and I started Taekwondo in the late 90s, and then I took over for my master in 2003. My original master when just the business was kind of going downhill and kind of lost the passion for it. So I took over the school, and over the last 17 and a half years, I evolved it. I brought it back up to where it was, and beyond that, and we added a lot of different elements to the program to make it more modern, but yet traditional. A lot of weapons and competitive breaking. We're incorporating more kickboxing and boxing stuff right now. We produced 17, 18, 19 world champions. We run a couple tournaments a year now, the Ontario Championship, as well as a smaller tournament. We do a lot more women's self-defense seminar stuff as well. We do a lot here, and that's thanks to not just me, but all of our black belts that really help build up our school and the community that we have built, as well as like the local Cobourg, Port Hope, Northumberland community, as well as some of the masters I've been blessed with, like my master now, Master Veronica, Grandmaster Veronica DeSanto, who's an hour away in Toronto. She owns three martial arts schools in Toronto. One of my other masters that passed away, Master John DeVay, as well as a lot of the masters I know from like the USBA, WBA, which I'm the Ontario director for, like Master Keith Fanning, Grandmaster Bergamo, Master John Furis, Master Serrano, Master Chip Townsend. Oh, I'm gonna miss a bunch of names. A bunch of the masters, Master Choice, Farrell, Master Richard Fournier, Master Gail Richard, a lot of our other black belts here, like some instructors like Ma'am Cheryl Sanders, who's the co-founder of Empowered, Ma'am Samantha Hamilton, Ma'am Selena Mulligan, Ma'am Sue Lillian, Sir Al, Schlaffy, Ma'am Abby, Elder, and all these other black belts. You know what? I'm gonna have to stop now 'cause I'm gonna miss a bunch of names I already have. So, like I said, all the black belts that we have here. My Taekwondo daughter, I have three Taekwondo daughters. They're not my biological daughters, but we're pretty close. They help as well. So and we all know a good martial arts school is about community as well. So that's kind of how Kuma Taekwondo kind of got started, or how I got started anyway, or brought it back to where it was. Um, yeah. So I've been on here for just we've been live for over an hour, about an hour and 10, an hour and 12 minutes now. I think I answered a bunch of questions here. Um, does anybody else have any other questions before I pop off? Because I probably should get a little bit of work here, but if anybody else has any other questions, I will definitely be doing more of these live streams at some point. I will pop on as early as I did today. And hopefully maybe I'll get Cheryl to do some of these. She's not as big of a fan of off the cuff like I am. I can ramble, but I've been teaching for a lot longer, and I've been on the world stage at the ISKA performing. I've been in front of like audience, like I've been like on ESPN2, Discovery Channel, Fightcast Network, and a couple other ones. I've been on TV live. I've been on the radio a couple different times live, so I'm quite comfortable. And plus, I've been teaching since I was like a blue and red belt. So most of my martial arts career, I've teaching different seminars and different martial arts schools from here all the way down to Florida. So yeah, I've been around. So I also performed at demos in Ireland and in England as well. That was kind of fun. So yeah. So I'm gonna call it for today. Oh, thank you, Matthew Johnson. Great live stream. Thank you very much, Emma. Again, I look forward to working together at some point. I'm gonna pop off for today. If you haven't done so, you can get this on Amazon.com.ca or .co.uk for the ones that are in the UK. I highly recommend this book. Like I said, our black belt are reading this for the black belt cycle this year. So I'm gonna sign off. Make sure you check out womanempowermenttraining.com or check out our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the video. We have a bunch of basic striking videos coming up, as well as some basic fitness for self-defense. Some plus, I got some other stuff that I'm planning on releasing as well. So I wish everybody a great afternoon. I'll see some of you in class. Happy training and enjoy your weekend if it's coming up.